Welcome to Tush Twins, heard exclusively on MalcolmPresents.com, a streaming platform heard round the world and beyond. And again, if you're beyond the world, please notify me at malcolmberman.com. Right, malcolmberman@gmail.com. Anyway,
Okay.
hi,
Malcolm
hi
Berman
Tush
at
Twins. How you doing, Max
gmail.com.
and Paula?
I'm here.
Rusty?
There doesn't seem to be any shaking going on at the moment,
A
although
lot of shit going on.
we had apparently there was an aftershock today in New Jersey. Did you feel it?
You know,
No?
after being in Los Angeles and being
Mhm.
in the few, no, I call that an earthquake.
Earthquake?
Of
Well,
course.
we just so everyone knows, this is the Tush Twins with Rusty, Paula, Rose, and me, Maxine, Faith, Margot, Ruben, the first.
Whatever. Yeah.
And we're the Tush Twins because we're like joined at the Tush. And Malcolm
Thanks,
is like
Dennis.
Malcolm is another cheek somehow.
Right.
And because we've been friends for over 60 years and we know each other so well.
Way over 60 years.
Where we
Way
got plutonic love, and we turn the other cheek when things get crazy. So sit back and enjoy the next like 30 minutes of us it's kind of doing our thing and
whatever that be.
talking about stuff that's in the news or not in the news or what we think about. I mean, the name of this episode is Earthquakes, the Eclipse, and Ebingers Blackout Cake. So maybe
That's the only chocolate cake I like.
Oh yeah, baby. So I don't know what to do first. Do you want to do the earthquake first? Do you want to do
The earthquake.
The earthquake. Okay. So, for those of you who are attuned to any kind of news whatsoever, and if you're not attuned to any news, I kind of understand because the world is like crazy. But New York, New Jersey, the metro area, we had an earthquake on Friday.
And the epicenter was in Tewksbury, New Jersey.
Right. And how far is that from you?
About 45 minutes away. And we felt it. The whole house really shook. Like everything was moving.
Same thing
But
with
it
me.
was like, but it wasn't as bad as when we were in Los Angeles after the North Ridge quake.
And
Yeah,
the North Ridge
The
quake
aftershocks.
The aftershocks.
Well, the Northridge quake was 6.4.
I thought it was a little higher, but is that right? 6.4?
No, I think it was 6.4.
Oh, I thought it was like 6.
I thought it was closer to 7, but
me too. I thought it was closer to 7, but the
I just
valley.
remember being in Phil and Abby's house and the aftershocks at 5.1. I'm going, now that was an earthquake.
We were at my nephew Noah's,
Yes.
and basically it was like either go into the bathroom or go outside, whatever. And we were trying to tell my son, your godson, like what to do. We kept all our clothes next to the beds.
I slept with my clothes on and my sneakers next to me.
What year was that again?
That's 93. I think it was 94.
When did we do the 90s?
Yeah,
it was the 90s.
It was the 90s, definitely, because my son was like 5 or 6, so it could have been.
Because we were at Fuddruckers doing that show.
We were somewhere that they converted the show. The oldies
that was
are
Fuddruckers.
Now. Fuddruckers, okay.
Yeah, I remember that.
Do you?
No, Fuddruckers or the earthquake?
Earthquake, both. We were supposed to go out the day of
94.
The earthquake. 94. Okay, I'm off one day.
Okay.
1 year.
1 year.
We're
off a year. So it was 94. Yeah, and I remember we couldn't land. LAX closed its main runway because there was a split up the middle of the. It was literally split.
Yeah, split.
Like it just divided. It went, and so just coming in like 2 days later, I think we were out of our freaking minds, and there were a number of aftershocks. We had an aftershock. I remember there was like a 4, 8, and like a 5.
5.1.
And only a few minutes apart, or like 20 minutes apart.
Yes.
That's when things shook in Noah's house. Elon was, we told him, you just get your shoes on, take the things that you think are important. So he goes, he feels it, he runs in, he takes his Game Boy
I remember that.
and then he takes our hands and he goes, we need to go outside. So at least we were included in the things he loves. So took his
I just
mom and
remember
dad and
sleeping on an air mattress in the living room
oh
with a
yeah, well.
flashlight next to me.
Mm-hmm.
And every time we had the quake, I would run to the bathroom just to pee because I had to pee every time.
You have to
Oh,
pee
by the way,
anyway, so it's
when
just
Paula
not an earthquake.
center your face better.
Me?
Center
Yeah.
your face. Maybe we should center the earthquake. So anyway, getting
That
back
was
to New
fun.
York. In New York, it's unusual.
Yeah,
I
Very
mean,
I think that it happened 200 years ago or 150 years ago.
No, we
yeah,
had an earthquake here in Jersey 14 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, a small one. It was like a 2 point something. It was very tiny.
But
Everyone felt it. I did not feel it.
well, they said it was the largest in the tri-state area since 1973. So I don't know
Yes.
what that was, but
yeah.
it was the third largest earthquake reported in the area in the last 5 decades. Yeah. And the strongest in New Jersey in more than 240 years.
Mm-hmm.
240 years.
Yeah, my house actually shook. It was
So it
moving
said
side by side.
this is like a
What I always get worried about, and I live in Los Angeles, by the way,
Yes,
for
we
those who
know.
don't know, what I always worry about when we get a earthquake, that they always say, well, we don't know whether that's a pre-quake,
right
and that's only the
to a bigger
beginning.
one. Right.
The big one
That's
is yet to come.
right. That's the deal. And right
I
now,
remember,
people were
yeah.
getting online going to the Californians. Man, stop giving us your earthquakes. Bring us an In-N-Out burger. Or, they were saying like really silly things for California, and it was kind of funny.
Well,
But
it's just
yeah, it's
we try to take it like it's blasé, like it's an everyday occurrence. A big deal. We have a
You get
earthquake.
them all the time. I remember
uh,
I had an apartment off of Riverside in Toluca Lake, and almost every other morning I'd find all my shampoos and stuff on the floor. Everything not
Well, but that's because you were drunk the night before when you took a shower.
yeah. Well,
Don't
probably.
blame it on an earthquake.
it could have been something
Probably.
else. I feel the earth move under my feet.
Under my feet.
That was a big song played right after the earthquake,
Yeah.
and then when we get to the eclipse, Dark Side of the Moon has entered the charts again. So, from the eclipse. So yeah, sort
But
of
the
like
thing when you guys had that earthquake, I didn't realize how many states it affected.
yeah, it was from New York City to Maine.
Yeah.
That's and I mean Jersey, down Philly felt it, right?
Well, it's the Ramapo fault line, which goes from New Jersey.
Ramapo or Ramsey? Which one?
No, Ramapo fault line.
Mm-hmm.
It was a Ramapo fault line. It went up through New York and up, but it didn't affect Indian Point. Didn't touch over the no
No,
effect
it
over that
did.
area.
No, it
They
did go. It
said
went right up the Hudson.
no, but there was
No.
no effect. Didn't hurt.
Well, Indian Point
It
is
was
closed,
close.
and
Yay! Thank you, thank you,
but they
thank you.
still have nuclear materials, and that's what they were
Yeah.
worried about. And that's in closing the plant, that's a whole other show for a whole other program of
And I have to say
many
thank
shades.
you, Liz Krug. What's
Mm.
her name? Liz Kruger?
Liz
Liz.
Kruger,
Yeah,
she was helpful, and there were a lot. I mean,
she was very helpful. Thank you.
I worked on that committee to close it for a long time.
And I helped.
And I
And
worked
I
with
helped.
FEMA, and we were giving iodine pills out to residents in Ossining. We didn't know what was going on. And after 9/11, the same thing was happening because we didn't know what was going to go on because the terrorists had
Mhm.
plans of Indian Point. They had plans and they flew
Yes,
over
they
the
did.
Hudson. So earthquakes and terror, fun times. And then, okay, there was an aftershock like later that evening, and this was Friday, April 5th. And then
Right.
today There's been one.
They
Yeah.
say it's gonna
So-
be for the next couple of weeks, they're
So,
thinking.
so you know, they don't know entirely,
I
but
think
they
it's
could be.
smaller.
Yeah, I mean, scientists say that there's a pattern for aftershocks after the main shock.
Yeah.
One aftershock about 1 magnitude less, 10 aftershocks about 2 magnitude, and then 100 about 3 magnitudes left. So
basically down to nothing.
today was 2.6.
Oh,
So that was about 2 down.
there are a lot of little quakes that we don't even know
Well,
about.
we don't feel it.
No, we could have
Yeah.
had more and we just don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
it
mean,
and it depends how deep it was.
well, yeah, I mean, it's also the topography and the soil is
Yeah.
different in LA, it's different in New York.
I have one
It's a-
question. Why would Con Edison build their plant right over the New York fault line, right through Manhattan, right up into Queens and Brooklyn, right on the fault line? I don't understand why they would do that.
Why would they do anything? Don't start me about why.
Right.
I'll give you one word answer, Arizona. Then I won't even like go after that. I mean, why? So let's get off of that. So any
Mhm.
more earthquake before we go into the eclipse? Any more stories about earthquakes, or do you want to go into eclipse
Well,
mode?
the last time there was an earthquake in New Jersey 13 or 14 years ago, that year we had a tornado a couple of weeks later, and we
Mhm.
had flooding, Hurricane Irene, and then we had the snowstorm on the Halloween snowstorm.
Yeah, that was fun. I remember that
And
one.
Well, did
then
you? Yeah,
I don't know.
33.5 inches here by me.
33.5 inches.
The
Wow.
snow, yes.
Hmm. Yeah, I try
Well,
to
I don't know
forget things like
if you
that.
saw the news this morning, but they had tornadoes in Texas,
Well, they
and
always
it's
have
supposed to be
That's
tornadoes in
more.
God's
Texas.
way of saying.
Yeah. No, we don't start me on that one. Really, I
No,
can't.
no, that's going to happen in Arizona.
I don't know.
You
But
could.
anyway,
One could
yeah.
hope.
All I can say is, women of the U.S. must unite, because we ain't letting this crap happen. This crap is not going to happen. It's not happening. So it's not
But
1864.
but it is.
1864. So let's go now into eclipse, because the eclipse was a cool thing. Not
It
only
was
was it cool, but
fun.
it brought millions of people together,
Yes, it
all
was
looking up.
wonderful.
I mean, and so I'm just going to read off a couple of things. The Dr. Noah Petro, who's a planetary scientist at NASA Goddard Space Flight Center, said, "No other planet in our solar system has total solar eclipses. There is no excuse for not seeking out their splendor, so go out to look at it. After all, they're a celestial phenomenon that's unique to our earthly existence. It only happens on Earth." But the thing weird that I read about is, it says total eclipses will eventually stop as the moon is drifting away from Earth and will be too small to cover the sun. So no total eclipses will exist. There'll be annular eclipses. You want to know when this is going to happen? Ask me.
Okay, tell me.
When will this happen?
When
In
will it
about
happen, Maxine?
620 million years.
I don't think I'll be here.
We'll be around floating on the top with our, oh no, we'll be next to each other with our heads in a glass like on
It's
Futurama.
going, what do you think? I think it's cool.
So anyway, what were your thoughts? What did you see the eclipse, Malcolm? I know you didn't go outside,
No, I
but
didn't go outside because it was in Los Angeles. It was only like a
Mhm.
quarter eclipse, so it really didn't get dark.
Right.
And since I didn't buy the glasses, I really didn't
Mm.
go outside to take a look at it.
Mm-hmm.
But I
Those
watched it on.
glasses should be given for free.
I saw it on television.
I got the glasses. Well, our friends Alan, and Christy out in
Christy.
Canandaigua, we were supposed to go there. As it turned out, it was so cloudy they didn't see anything.
We
Ooh.
But they
saw
said
here.
if they gave glasses, because I saw it at the okay, so what did you see? What's your
I saw
observation?
almost 3/4, almost the whole thing.
Yeah,
It was
go.
amazing. And then
It,
all of a sudden the clouds came and covered it. And then it got
oh,
very dark out.
yeah, it got dark
Then
and
it
it got
got
colder.
dark. look, well, I was kind of happy about that part.
Well, of course, you should have eclipse every day, so it'll be colder for you.
Yes.
You're so
Thank you,
weird.
Clips.
You're so weird. Oh man. But anyway, so did you see it with other people? Or you were just in your house outside?
I was outside, my neighbor and a few of my neighbors were all outside just looking up. But a lot of people were like, no big deal for them. And I was like, I just can't understand that. Dennis and I went outside. He had his little chair. I felt I was back in Brooklyn with a little chair on the lawn or the
Uh,
sidewalk looking at things. But it was
yeah.
wonderful.
And
We
a glass of
enjoyed it.
wine
No, no,
or chewing a gummy
no.
bear.
Chewing a
Uh,
gummy bear. Are you chewing a gummy
Dennis
bear?
had.
Well, I don't know if you can see this, but this is my husband. This is
I
Les
know.
looking
Yeah.
up. I have Dennis's picture. Want me to show that?
Yes, go for that one. This is my
Oh.
husband getting ready. Show him the picture I sent to Max.
It was like, what am I doing? It was really funny. Uh, so anyway, we went, my friend is the program director of the Chappaqua Library. So we went to the library, which was cool because they had a live NASA feed in the theater. And then they have an outdoor space where a lot of people were, and we all observed it together. And it was just really nice to be with a bunch of people. Yeah. I wasn't able to take a good shot. I didn't want to mess
That's
with,
almost, that
I
was
mean,
like 3/4 and it got very
Okay.
dark and still saw some of the
I
sun through the
mean,
moon.
this is through my glasses,
Yeah,
and
this is the
and
same thing through my glasses.
Yeah.
right, but it started when you started to see it maybe an hour and a half before it started, but as it got to the hour, you can see the moon was just moving up
Slowly going up. And that was so
from the
Slowly.
cool.
bottom right up to the left, and then when it was probably 80 something percent, I think we saw.
Yeah, this
And
is about
that that
75.
and then it was just incredible. I mean, we were putting the pinhole through the paper to see, and then those people were bringing things that had little holes. And
Mhm.
as it was
Mhm.
getting more and more, the little holes reflected, and they were all crescents. Instead of
Mm.
being round, they were all
Yeah,
crescents.
they're all
So
crescents.
that was really cool. And everyone, I don't have it with me, but they gave NASA wanted us to fill out an observation sheet, which
Oh, how cool.
I'm gonna get the QR code and send it in about what the birds were doing or insects or
There
you
weren't
know
many,
Yeah,
and
the
you have,
dogs didn't bother them, there were no
well
birds going to,
we
well, you
heard
don't know. I mean,
there
you have
were
to we have to speak to Victoria, find
yeah
out
well
what
no
they.
we had the birds. I heard birds chirping, and then as it was starting, it really got quiet. It got quiet as
yeah.
it hit total, getting more and more. And as it got closer, though, they were chirping louder. And I didn't dig down to see what the insects were up to, but uh, the birds were chirping, and the humans were going, "Wow, this is
Wow.
awesome!" I mean, it was
It was
incredible.
groovy. It was really amazing.
I
I
mean,
was so happy to see it.
I saw the totality. It was at Mazatlan in Mexico,
Yeah, but
and then
I saw
they
that they
right,
did
Yeah,
on
that was
TV here.
cool.
They
yeah,
did
yeah,
Mazatlan and Dallas,
Texas,
Texas.
and then they did Indianapolis. They had 50,000 people in the Indy 500,
Hmm.
and they said
Hmm.
everyone as it hit the totality, people were talking. It went to a hush, and people were just going like ooh like
Like a fireworks
unbelievable,
type of
right,
ooh,
just
ah.
ooh, like oh my goodness, this is incredible. And they went ooh, they were just, and then they had it in Cleveland, in the Rock and Roll Hall
They
of Fame
had
was in the back,
they
and
were
some of them
marrying people.
there were ceremonies in different places in the country that they had. I got married during the eclipse of 2024. I mean, stuff like that, and they were selling t-shirts about with 2020. I saw the 2024. The next one's in 2044. Sorry.
35, 45.
No, 20, no, they said 2044 in Montana. So let's all get ready to meet up. Okay,
Should we make reservations?
I think so.
The one
um
thing I don't like about the eclipse and is the gouging that people did.
Mhm.
Hotel rooms that usually are $50 to $100, we're going for
Right.
$600-700.
Mhm.
Food at restaurants that usually a burger that's $15, I say, it was up to like $60. They just gouged people. I thought
Well,
that
they're
was
still
really
gouging. They're
bad.
gouging people every day in the supermarket, and that's not
Yeah,
inflation. That's the companies
that's the company's gouging.
gouging. And now they're going to blame you know who for the company's gouging. But anyway, I just thought it
Mhm.
was like a really, I mean,
I just
millions of
enjoyed it.
people getting together. They said over 40 million, I think, in the US. I don't know if it was total US, Canada, Mexico, but seeing this phenomenon and being nothing, no problems, no divisiveness,
Yeah.
no, everybody got along and they were looking at this incredible thing. So we know it can be done, right?
So
There
they
was a
have a lunar
unity.
eclipse, a solar eclipse every day then.
Then that right, that'll do it. Mm.
Well, I don't know. The other big news of the weekend
What?
Yeah.
was the women's basketball, collegiate basketball.
Yeah, they
Yes.
won. Yeah,
And
They,
that was
Yukon
great.
Huskies.
UConn won
Yukon
last night.
Huskies won, but the real the main attraction there was
Did you see?
the lady from Iowa.
My son went to Yukon Law,
Yeah.
so he's a Husky.
Uh,
And
Hmm.
Caitlin Clark.
yeah,
And
she
they had the
was
biggest TV audience. I think it was sort of like
ever.
Ever
14
for
million
women's basketball,
women's
ever.
basketball.
Yeah, and so there was a call that people are calling skeptical with the Yukon women game, and uh, they it was a call that they later said it was probably the right call, but not in that situation. So it could have been Yukon in the finals, but Iowa lost. South Carolina won.
Yeah.
South
I
Carolina
know.
had a perfect record. And so Caitlin, I wonder where she's going. Who's going to be paying her some bucks?
She's going
Well, yeah.
someplace great.
Somewhere. I hope she comes to the New York Liberty.
Well, she's gonna go where
That'd
she
be
wants to
cool.
go.
She can go wherever she wants to
Yeah.
go, but they're going to have to bring up the dinero, as they say.
Right.
She's quite the prospect, and also the young lady from South Carolina.
Yeah, Andrea something or other. I think she's like 9 foot tall.
Yeah, yeah.
I
There's
think
one
she's
guy
six
on the
six seven.
Yukon men's team who's like almost 7 feet. He's just this tall guy. But they won back-to-back championships, Yukon.
Yep.
I know.
My
Yay.
my niece and her hubby are Yukon, grads, and so we were texting each other into 12 o'clock at night. Everyone was excited, and now the little guy, Mr. Little Ben, he's gonna get some nice T-shirts out of this.
Mhm.
So that was really cool. So I wanted to use like the E's for this show, earthquakes and eclipse, and I was thinking what else could be like a blackout, because it's kind of blacking out the sun, right? It blacks
Hmm.
out the sun. And what would black out in Brooklyn? And then I thought of Ebingers. and then i
Ebingers.
and then I
Avengers.
thought of Ebingers Blackout Cake, which
Hmm.
was incredible. I loved it. Let me read this. It said Ebinger's Blackout Cake, sometimes called Brooklyn's Blackout Cake, is a chocolate cake
Hmm.
filled with chocolate pudding and topped with chocolate cake crumbs. How could you possibly go wrong? It was invented during World War II by a Brooklyn bakery chain named Ebinger's
Ebingers,
in
who was
recognition.
bought out by Entenmann's.
Timon?
Entenmann's
Really?
bought them out. Hmm.
They did they?
Hmm.
Um.
Are they
Anyway,
still? Do they still have a bakery in Brooklyn? In
No,
Brooklyn now? No.
I don't
no.
know. It
There
must be
used
a
to be
bigger
one on
company
Brighton
now.
Beach Avenue.
Right. So and it was, well, anyway, it was in World War II by a Brooklyn bakery chain, Ebingers, in recognition of the mandatory blackouts to protect the
Hmm.
Brooklyn Navy Yard. So they called it the Blackout Cake. After the war, the name persisted for a very dark chocolate cake and became common across the American Midwest. Ebinger's variety was very popular and became a signature offering, popular with Brooklyn residents until the chain closed in 72. I
72.
I
don't
remember.
know. It closed in 72.
I
I
know it
don't,
closed,
but I don't
but
know. I you have to check who did they? Are you
Entenmann's
sure of
bought
that?
They bought out a lot of their recipes. They bought them
Yeah.
out.
But
A lot of their
Entenmann's is
stuff.
still around.
But I,
Entenmann's is a big thing.
I
yeah.
mean, one of my I moved to Los Angeles in 1977, and one of the big things, one of my major disappointments, is that Entenmann's didn't distribute in California. And I used to love the chocolate donuts,
Oh,
Entenmann's
Yeah.
yeah.
chocolate donuts, and the cinnamon donuts.
Right.
Cinnamon were my favorite. I'm not a chocolate person.
Now I used to love it
Never
because
was.
it was sort of like almost like hollowish inside. And, it didn't have, but the chocolate was wonderful.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to find out.
So they say Enterman's cake, their blackout cake, was the replica of the original Ebingers cake.
Uh,
I don't know if I've had that.
I don't know. I'm trying to see.
What,
What is this?
no, you were talking about chocolate pudding, which is my favorite.
Yeah,
And
I don't like chocolate pudding.
the best part of the chocolate pudding when I was a
Yeah.
kid was the leftover surface that my mother had in the pot. That
Mm.
really got hard.
Yes. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
used to
Yeah.
love that. First
Yeah, I don't
year,
like, yeah, no.
first year I was working up in the Catskill Mountains, and I
Oh,
made
yeah.
friends. I made friends with the chef. I was a waiter, and I was friendly with the chef. And he used to cook chocolate pudding in this big vat, that fed 100.
Who bought out
It
Ebingers?
doesn't. It doesn't say.
What I did is
I don't.
one day when I was doing the chocolate pudding, I had him save the pot for me, and I took a little teaspoon, and I was eating out the pot. I think it like took me 2 hours,
Really.
but it was like I was in heaven.
Yeah. I don't. We have to check on that
Oh, you
Ebingers.
know what? It's really funny because I do
'Cause
remember
I,
this.
I don't. I don't know if
Um,
Entenmann's. It doesn't really say. It says they
including
closed.
German bakeries such as Drake's
It
and
says they
Entenmann's.
closed. It didn't say it was bought.
Okay, because they got
Maybe
their recipes.
maybe some
A
of the
lot of their
recipes.
donuts and everything. But I do remember there was a boycott. My parents, I know my mother especially, refused to shop at Ebinger's for a while because they only hired white women to work there. They would
Mm.
not hire minorities.
And
Wow,
only Jewish.
that's crazy.
Yes,
Wow.
so I
It
remember my family would not let us go and shop there, so we kept going to Sea Lane anyway. But till they started hiring other
wow.
minorities.
There's in this article, I don't know if this is true. It says blackout cakes can be ordered from the Long Island company Batters and Doughs, and also Donut Plant makes one in the city.
Yeah,
Uh,
donut plant on
but
23rd Street.
but there is an absolute incredible app, almost exactly like the one
Yeah.
we used to eat in Susan Lawrence here in Chappie Land.
Oh,
And
really?
it's noted, it's been like going viral that you can get the
That's my
cake
sister's favorite cake.
and
You remember?
it sounds and it tastes literally the recipe. They try to get as close to the recipe as possible. Of course, it's like $44 a cake or something. But apparently people are buying it.
Well, I
And
guess so. I
I mean,
like seven. If I could eat chocolate cake, it would be a 7-layer chocolate cake because there's a vanilla and the yellow cake in it.
But
mhm.
And
yeah,
the
I was just
7-layer cake?
reading. I was just reading things about Coney Island. I'm part of that Coney Island Facebook thing, and they
Yes,
were
me
talking
too.
about eating at Nathan's.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I think it
Well,
was a hot dog was like $7 or $8 a hot dog.
now
Yeah. And French fries was like 350.
I don't think when we went there, it wasn't, what
it
was it?
was
I thought it was
it
like,
was $5.95 a
I think it
hot
was
dog
five,
for
it was
you.
about $6. Yeah.
Okay.
$6.
For one
And
hot dog and
Hot
then
dog.
French fries.
the French fries was like 350 or 450.
It was probably closer to
And a Coke was
450.
250.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we used to
And
pay, I think it
it's
was
owned by
50
Chinese now.
cents.
I didn't realize
It,
that. When did the Henworker family sell it?
I don't
oh,
know.
I have no idea.
We have to look that
I
up.
know it's
I don't
bought
know.
out by the Reese Company.
It said it's owned by a Chinese group.
Now,
Really?
wow.
Yeah, that's why they have
Nathan's?
the chow mein sandwich.
They don't have the chow mein sandwich
They don't have
anymore.
that. Oh, you're
Yes,
so
they
full
did
of
it.
poopy. You're full of poopy.
You're full of poopy. Yeah.
And this weekend, I went and I met the former Prime Minister, um,
Oh, right.
Bennett, Naftali Bennett. He was a gentleman. He was lovely. I went to a meet and greet at a friend's house in Scarsdale.
What is it?
And
Natalie Bennett? Is that who you said?
yeah,
And he's the
And
prime minister of
Israel, former prime
Israel.
minister.
Former.
Yes, and
Oh, former. Oh.
he was on CNN that morning also. And I have a feeling he's running against, because what he was talking about, prime minister now, it was not so great.
No, Bibi. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's supposed to. In Israel, there's a lot of protests against him.
Yeah, well,
This
I
Naftali, he was the first one to have an Arab coalition working with them and he's a hawk, he admits it, but he believes that the Arabs should live in peace with Israel. He believes that the Gaza Strip should go to the Arabs, but they don't know how to run it themselves. And the Hamas is like,
well, they're
it was,
saying
it's,
in a New York Times report, it said in January, in the wake of the October 7 attacks, Benny Gantz has
mhm.
emerged as the most likely candidate to take on Israel's current prime minister. So I
Yeah.
don't see anything about Bennett.
Well,
But
he's all of a sudden he's coming out of the woodwork.
But again, I'm you
And
know
the
when
Mossad that was with him, his secret agent people, oh, they were so cute. They were such nice, cute guys. They were so
but
adorable.
when I listen to the news and I hear you know who speak, he has a way of settling the problems in Israel, speaking to the Russians and stopping the war.
mhm.
Of
Yeah.
I wonder
course.
how come he didn't do it when he was
Do that
president.
when he was, yeah, I know. It's because
I mean,
because they're giving him money right now, and they gave
yeah,
him money then.
and he
But
has a
why?
way
Don't
of
get it.
hospitalization with doing away with Obamacare. I don't know why he didn't do it when he was president. But speaking of that, we can't speak about that because that's a show of itself. It's
No,
time
Yes,
to
it is.
it's time to go now.
no talking about it.
Okay, I have one question for you guys.
Yeah.
One
One,
little thing. When you saw is it mirror on the wall or is it magic mirror on the wall?
mirror, mirror on the wall.
I think magic mirror on the wall.
Axing, you're right.
Magic.
Magic mirror
Yay!
on the wall.
I
Okay,
thought
one more. One
Okay.
more, quickly. The Monopoly guy, does he have a monocle on or not?
Ooh.
I'd say yes.
It's on in the postcard, but the actual figure?
The original guy on the Monopoly games,
I
on the box,
I never knew him.
Mr. Moneybags.
Does he have a monocle on the box?
They've done this image and on
Okay, I
Atlantic
changed my
City
mind.
and other
I say no.
Max.
I say yes.
Malcolm's right.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to be
No
contrary.
monocle. People, for some reason, they think of Mr. Moneybags with a monocle, but he never had one.
Yeah,
Well, they think of Mr. Magoo or Gilligan's Island with wearing glasses, you know.
Yeah.
It always
Backus.
it always
Jim
goes into,
Backus.
yeah, I love Jim Backus. He was awesome. So, but
So
anyway.
leaving you with
remember him
that,
from
I'll have more next week.
Trivia from
trivia time.
Rusty.
Anyway, guys, you have a
Trivia
great
from
week.
Rusty. All right, we shall be
If
in
there are
touch.
any if there are any rumblings, let me know. If you feel
Yeah,
any kind of
I feel
shakes.
the earth move under my feet. I feel the
And
sky tumbling down.
send my regrets, send my love to Carol King.
We will.
I would.
Shalom.
She might be in Idaho, wherever she lives. Who knows?
Okay.
Anyway,
guys.
Idaho. No,
Idaho. No, Idaho.
Idaho.
Bye.
Ciao.
May.
Bye.